Basketball Talk Pro. My name is Ron Ecker. You may hear a little bit of background noise here. I'm in a new place, and actually today it's below zero here, and so I don't want to turn that heater off. So we'll just have to bear with it. Well, some years ago, there was a cartoon movie made, and one of the songs that were sung in the movie, and actually Michael Jordan was in that movie in a kind of a limited role, but also a big part of it. And there was a song that got very popular, I Want to Be Like Mike. And I just thought that that was a good beginning, a good thought for the subject I want to talk to you about today, which I think is extremely important for coaches. Basically, what that song indicated was that they wanted to be like Michael Jordan. Well, they wanted to emulate him, so to speak. And I looked at emulation of people, and I think that that's a very healthy thing. I think coaches should look at people that are more experienced, that have risen higher than they are at the time. And to try to learn and emulate from them. I think that's healthy. It'll help you develop characteristics, develop skills that you think you need to reach like that person did. But what do we emulate in a person? I look at it this way. Most people, when they want to emulate or be like someone, would love to be like someone, they are looking at the results. Let's take Michael Jordan. What they see is being able to jump from the free throw line to dunk, make impossible shots, make big shots at the end of the game to win championships and that sort of thing. But that isn't what I think you should emulate. You have that, the results on one end, and that's what you'd like to have, is the results. But if you want to be like that person in some way, not exactly, but in some way, you have to look at the person. Michael Jordan's skills were, of course, extremely high. There's a lot of players that have the same skills. All you have to do is watch the NBA dunking contest every year. There's new people coming up all the time that take part in that contest who can do the same things. Yes, there's not a lot of them who can do it, but there are others that can do it that did not get to the same place that Michael Jordan did. A lot of people through the years. So what is it that you should be looking at? Look at the person. Study the person. And I think you'll find that in almost every case, as you look at great people that are great achievements, it's going to come from the mind. What kind of person you are, your self-discipline, your qualities, and values. it wasn't just happen. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team. That's a true story. When he was, I think, going to be a junior. But the story doesn't end there. The story just goes on because he refused to let that stop him. Michael Jordan was a driven man, and he took every step along the way very seriously. When he got to the NBA, he found out there were things that against these players he couldn't do. So he just found out a way to get that. He weight trained, he had rigorous training all his career, but even at the end, at 40-some years of age in the NBA, and having accomplished everything, I saw him in the twilight of his career, when he was getting up after a game the night before and working out at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the part that you need to find out about any person that you emulate. And we can go on from that. How are you going to find out these things about anybody? Well, if you don't have direct access to them, where you can talk to them, which most people don't have that kind of access, that they can take hours of time away from Michael Jordan while he explains all his things. But one of the places you can do, in the internet, you can find a lot of things. But one of the things that you can do is read books. They're accessible, and there's a person like Michael Jordan. You got all kinds of books. I would recommend one, and that I think if you read this one book about Michael Jordan, you're going to get most of the things that you need to know, and you can start there. There's a book written, Playing for Keeps, by David Halberstam. Actually, he didn't really even talk to Michael Jordan. He studied Michael Jordan for a long time, trailed him, went to games, was there when they won when he made that great shot against Utah. And so he has a different look. It wasn't more of an autobiography where Jordan could develop what he wanted to develop in the book. That's the kind of thing that you want to seek out. The next person that I'd like to talk to you about is somebody you should be fairly well acquainted. He's actually been on Basketball Talk Pro, and that's Phil Jackson. He has written a large number of books, so you can get it right from his word, right from his mouth almost. He wrote 6 or 7 books, but I think if you would go to his first book called Sacred Hoops, and then his last book, The 11 Rings, you're going to find out a lot about the person, Phil Jackson. And he was a little bit different than I've seen most players. And Phil Jackson was at his time was a very famous player with the New York Knicks, and they won championships. But he took a different route, and this is what you need to find out about people. When he got done with his playing career, he realized that this is what he would like to do, is be a coach. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm Phil Jackson, I played, I want a job, and he would have gotten a job, at least as an assistant. Instead, he spent about 4 or 5 years in the CBA learning how to coach. going through managing players on back-to-backs, managing people coming right out of college into 48-minute games, long trips. He learned all these things by himself. Didn't ask anybody, didn't ask any favors. He just went and spent the time. He also took off-season time and went to Puerto Rico and coached. I've coached in Puerto Rico. I can tell you that is a learning experience. But he learned more. He honed his skills, and then he made the step into the NBA, and then as a head coach. He was ready for that position. Not like a lot of coaches that they hire because of their name. They're not ready. He was ready, and it culminates in the book, 11 Rings. Now, you know, people will look at the Michael Jordans and Kobe Bryants that played for him. But those players also played for a lot of coaches, that they didn't ever go to the heights that they did when they played for Phil Jackson. So I think that you know where to start. I would also recommend another person as far as coaches are concerned, John Wooden. You need only one book on John Wooden, and there's tons of John Wooden books, but they're all pretty well talking only about his virtues, in other words, his results. In the book, Wooden, by Seth Davis, he goes through all of it, his background, his beliefs, his flaws, his problems. You get a real panoramic look at John Wooden. And that's the kind of material you want to know. And I think all you will find in these three people that I just talked about, or anybody that you seek, it's their mental makeup that puts them different. A lot of guys could be like Michael Jordan, but they didn't have the mind that Michael Jordan did. A lot of people could have the success Phil Jackson had. They didn't have the mind that Phil Jackson had. And Wooden literally came from high school level and had the greatest college career of any coach. His mind was different. You read the book and you'll find this is what set him apart and what sets all great people apart. So listen, go explore. Find the person you want to be like. Then immerse yourself in that person. It may take you 2-3 years, but everything you're reading and everything you're studying and everything you're trying to put into your own life, step by step, will rise you higher and higher. And I hope that every one of you want to rise higher. Because if you can make the steps, you can do the work, you can get the skills as a coach to escalate yourself year after year, different positions, you are doing such a service to mankind, really, because you deal with a lot of players who are going to become lawyers, doctors, accountants, any walk of life. And you have something to say about their mental makeup in whatever they do. Well, that's it for today.